Hey guys, welcome back to Gold Souls. Just like many of you, I am self-quarantining and my university has gone online for the rest of the semester, and as sad as that is, it also means that I have a lot more time to make videos and I have plenty of time to watch movies. I'm sure many of you are looking for movie recommendations during this time, so I created a Gold Souls approved list of feel-good movies for quarantine 2020. So I'm planning on making videos about a few of these movies over the course of the next few weeks, and today I'm going to start off with a film that's one of my favorites, Can't Buy Me Love. If you follow Gold Souls on Instagram, you probably saw the poll that I made asking you guys to help me pick a movie to talk about, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised that you guys picked this film. I've always liked this movie, but I just don't hear it referenced very much, especially when you've got big 80s movies in the John Hughes cinematic universe like The Breakfast Club or Pretty in Pink or Ferris Bueller. Like, this just isn't the movie that's always talked about, and I feel like sometimes I'm the only person my age that knows about this film because I have brought it up so many times throughout my film school career. I've referenced it in a few of my projects that I've written over the last couple of years, and every time I bring it up, nobody knows what I'm talking about. But you know what? That ends today. This film was released in August of 1987 and it became an unexpected summer hit of that year. It was made independently for $1.8 million and ended up earning over $30 million worldwide. The film was written by Michael Swerdlick, directed by Steve Rash, and starring Patrick Dempsey as Ronald Miller and Amanda Peterson as Cindy Mancini. In this film, Ronald is a nerdy high school senior who desperately wants to be popular. After making bank mowing people's lawns over the summer, he goes into the mall to make a major purchase. He spots Cindy Mancini, the most popular and beautiful girl in school, frantically trying to buy a replacement for her mother's dress that she ruined on accident, but the problem is she can't afford it. Ron decides to help Cindy pay for it as long as she agrees to fake date him for a week in hopes that her popularity will rub off on him. If we know anything about teen movies in the rom-com genre, I think we all know how fake dating usually ends up, right? But in the early days of development, this film was rejected by TriStar Pictures and ended up being picked up independently. I was reading that some earlier drafts of the script were going to have an R rating, and the director decided to scale that back and change some things up just so that it would appeal more to a teenage female audience. One of the extras in this film actually became head of acquisitions at Disney after the film was made. He showed it to some Disney executives and they ended up making it one of the first outside acquisitions of the Walt Disney Company. At this point, the film was originally called Boy Rents Girl. It's a little messy. A little problematic. So the name was changed to Can't Buy Me Love after the famous Beatles song, and thanks to Disney, they were able to acquire the rights to the song from Michael Jackson for about $100,000. One of the first interesting things that I realized while doing research for this film was that Patrick Dempsey was 20 years old when this movie was filmed, and Amanda Peterson was only 15, which is wild because she just seemed so mature to me. But then it also kind of makes things a little bit weird considering the fact that these two were playing love interests and he was an adult and she was a minor. Besides that fact, it's obvious that their chemistry is really great and these two are amazing together. In my mind, they're one of the standout 80s teen rom-com couples, even though they're not talked about as much as I think they should be. When casting for the role of Ronald Miller, the filmmakers were looking for an unknown actor, and Patrick Dempsey was that at the time. They needed somebody who was not super famous and not a total teen heartthrob yet, so that way they could project the idea that he was a nerd and a dork and not very cool onto the audience, making that believable. But he was just cute enough so that it made sense later on in the movie when all the girls are going after him. While I could say that my favorite things about this movie are the adorable young Patrick Dempsey and Cindy Mancini's wardrobe, it's actually the fact that this film was shot in my hometown of Tucson, Arizona. I was born and raised in Tucson and lived there for many years before coming to California, and there's rarely any movies that were made there, so it's fun for me to watch it and, you know, pick out a couple locations that are familiar to me, and just the overall look of the film, the sunset, the mountains in the background, the cacti, the sand, and the gravel, and all that stuff. So you've got shots of downtown Tucson in the background when they're at their high school. There's a scene that takes place in the Tucson Mall, which is a place I went to all the time. I'm not sure why this film was set in Tucson. I tried to do some research to find out if the writer was maybe from there. Couldn't really get any information. I think it was a great idea and it's super fun and gives the film a unique feel. I'm wondering if maybe it was because, you know, the film was made independently, maybe it was just cheaper to shoot in Tucson, or maybe the writer had some sort of a connection to the place. And one of my favorite scenes in the film is when Cindy and Ron go to the airplane graveyard, which is a real place outside of the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson. Now, I'm not even sure how anybody could have possibly snuck into that place in the 80s, especially not now. I think the fact that it was so easy for Ron and Cindy to scale the wall and get in was very unrealistic. But it was really cute and I think it was a really great addition to the script. The scene right after drives me nuts though, because, spoiler alert, Cindy likes Ron now and she's giving him all the signals and he's not even seeing it. The way she's looking at him, it is so obvious. Dude, Snap out of it. Hello, what is wrong with you? Now, I'd say the writing in this film is fairly decent. I think it could definitely use some love in certain scenes. Then again, the cheesiness of it kind of adds to the charm and it makes it fun and silly and cute, and it's a teen movie, so we let it go, right? I have seen some negative reviews where people feel like Ron never really endured the consequences for his actions, the way he treated Cindy and his friend Kenneth and all of his other friends. His exile from the social scene is pretty short-lived before he makes a big speech in the cafeteria and everything's fine, which I think is a very valid point, and it's not realistic. One of the standout things that I love about this film is the quirky performance given by Patrick Dempsey. His mannerisms as Ron are so odd, but they're very realistic. I think he nails that awkward body language very well, and it always makes me laugh. He seems very believable as that super quirky kid that everyone knows from school. I think he plays really well into the vulnerability and sensitivity and sincerity that Ron has, especially when he pours his heart out to Cindy. I think it's so cute. A fun fact is that the dance that Ron performs at the school dance is actually choreographed by Paula Abdul, who I believe makes an appearance in the film as an extra. Another thing that I love is the bookends of the beginning scene and the end scene. In the very beginning, we see Ron mowing the lawn while Can't Buy Me Love is playing over the opening credits, and at the end, we have Cindy and Ron riding off into the sunset on a lawnmower when the same song is playing, and I think that those bookends are really cute, ties the whole film together really nicely. Another thing I really loved about this film is the use of color. There's some great pops of pinks and reds and teals. I love that they keep returning back to the ice cream and pizza place called Scoops. That teal awning's awesome, the pop of the neon lights, I love it. Whoever did color on this did a great job. I also love the 80s desert decor. Ron's house reminds me of the house I grew up in with the brick, and I just love seeing all the landscaping and the desert plants. I love his room. We've got that cactus light, very artsy and fun. And I also love Cindy's room. The colors are really fun and vibrant, super 80s, really cute. Something I find interesting is the shift that I think takes place about midway after Ron and Cindy break up. It kind of feels like Cindy almost becomes a protagonist in a way, and we see some moments with her and her mom, her speech at the party, all those things kind of give us another glimpse into who she is and what she's going through, and ultimately makes the film about both of them. It's not just Ron's story, it's both of their stories. I also have to acknowledge the fact that Amanda Peterson gives a really great performance in this film. She's fresh and she's fun, and I think she brings Cindy to life in a way that feels really natural. Cindy was a great character because she was a little bit more multi-dimensional than most teen movie love interests. The bits and pieces we got from Cindy's personal life really painted her as more of a real person rather than just a cute girl from high school. She was definitely much more than that, and I actually would have enjoyed seeing an entire movie about Cindy and everything that she was going through because I think it would have been really interesting. I think that people really liked Cindy Mancini because Amanda's performance made her feel so real. In 2003, Can't Buy Me Love was loosely remade into a film called Love Don't Cost a Thing, starring Nick Cannon and Christina Milian, but it did not have the same success. Now, I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on it, but I've seen a lot of negative reviews. It just didn't really hit people the same way. In fact, reviews were pretty negative for Can't Buy Me Love when it first came out in 1987. When it came to critical opinions, it was not praised, but the public ate it up, and I think that's why it's still an enduring classic today. If you like the 80s, you like the desert, and you like high school rom-coms during this quarantine season, then this movie is for you. Let me know in the comments below if you've seen this movie and what you think, and if you have any suggestions for films I can talk about in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow Gold Souls on Instagram. I'll see you in the next video.